welcome back to my channel, Anime-chan. I hope that you guys have been enjoying my reviews on Dororo, and in today's review, episode 8, I'll post the reaction highlights and then the review, but just a heads up, I feel like I have become way too in love with this anime as a whole to really be objective about it. So my review will just mostly be me saying all the things that I love about the anime, and I'll try and be as objective as I can, but honestly this anime has been a 10 out of 10 for me since day one. So I don't know how, if you guys want to highlight your more objective reviews, if there's something that you found wrong with this episode or with the anime as a whole, feel free to share it in the comments in a way that's constructive and not just bashing. I welcome that, but from me you're only going to hear good things. Enjoy the reaction and then feel free to stick around at the end for my review. Okay, everything's working. Is it Ash?
空にただ一つ残されたように浮かぶ姿から残され雲とだけ呼ばれていた。くっせー、卵が腐った匂い見て。兄貴は平気なのか？そもそも匂いってわかんの？よし、おいらと話す練習。
Yes, yes, teach him to talk.
話しかけてみてくれよ、兄貴。
Nope, not a parade. Sacrifice. She's gonna die. He looks like a little monkey. Do you see the way his face is like? He looks like a monkey. Oh, SARU. Like a monkey! It's a nice name. Now we're gonna see what happens. Oh, he literally chews them up. Everything is red. Oh my God. I hope he gets his sight back after this. Oh, fuck. Listen, listen, listen. You can hear it. Hear it. Listen. No, it's gone. Wow. What the fuck? Why the fuck? How the why?
ちゃんを見てるだけで腹減ってんのも寒いのも気になんね。オラに優しくしてくれたのはの姉ちゃんはいつかどこかでオラの母ちゃんだった人かと。
That's so beautiful.
お母ちゃんか。オイラだって一度受けた仕事は最後まできっちりやるつもりだ。
一緒にあいつをやっつけんぞ。
理由はわかんねえけど、あの雲の中じゃ兄貴は満足に動けねえ。オイラたちだけで。
こらやつの皮だ。
Oh.
ムカデってのは脱皮すると大きくなんだ。
Fuck, so they want more.
ってあいつの弱点は日光だ。雲からお天道様の下に引きずり出せば倒せるはずだ。
それならオラにいい考えがあんぞ。
I wonder if it's a demon that has part of Hyakimaru's anything. Is he training himself to listen for something? Please do not take Dororo from me. The music is really good. Like, it's so perfect for this time. No! 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 Oh god. I thought if she... Whew. Was that like gas or something? Wow!
の炎でも燃えないのかよ。
ああ、でも問題ね。
そのまま日の光に溶けちまえ。
Hyakimaru is gonna help you guys. Come on, Hyakki. Yes, he was training to throw it so he knows where it is. Yes, bitch. Oh my god, Dororo is so brave. No!
もしかしてあいつを呼んでんのか。
Yes, good job. Slash it right down. Watch out! Slash! Slash! Yes! Fucking yes! Is his sister wasn't digested yet? Yay! She wasn't digested yet!
そうだ、猿だ。姉ちゃん、生きててよかった。
What is he getting? His sight? His nose. He got his smell back? Oh, look at his cute little nose. I've got a crush on him.
約束の報酬だ。
あ、ありがとよ。なんだよ、この石。
あれあれだけだ。同じようなもんだろ。
そんな。あんたたちのおかげでありがとう、ドロロさん。
なんとか本当の姉ちゃんみてえだな。
兄貴、これはな。今オイラのことどれなくて。兄貴。
No, wait, I have to hear it again.
兄貴、 これはな、オイラの名前いい名前だな。
Oh, was so beautiful. 10 out of 10. Oh, I have to listen to the song. It's too beautiful. This is the best ending song. But it makes you sad often, but it's okay. The episode was called The Story of SARU. So SARU is the little boy that lived in the mountains that was basically ostracized by society. I think you probably saw in the reaction that I honestly don't understand what was going on in the minds of those villagers. Like, how are you a little village and you see a child living on their own in the woods? I don't care if that child is wild as fuck. I don't care. You, as a human being, you're supposed to... You don't go burn the child's house. Let's just put it that way. I feel like shit like that actually does happen in real life. People do sometimes look at other people like just a nuisance. I have read articles where parents have treated children like animals. So I don't have a hard time believing that this is something that villagers would do to a child that lives in the mountains, burning up his house. Maybe like this child killed their livestock by accident 1 or 2 times for food to survive, you know, because that's what the kid needs. So I kind of I would understand what their justification would be. I can imagine what they would try and say, why they fucking burned this kid's house down, or why they didn't like the kid that lived in the mountains. But honestly, that is horrible. That is horrible villagers, and I don't understand why Saru's Nechan, his sister, why would she want to sacrifice herself for people like that? I'm sure though that not all the people in the village were like the few who threw stones at poor little Saru. So I know that it is that those, let's say 10 to 20 villagers aren't good representations of the whole village. It might just be that they're a bunch of farmers or guards or whatever, and they were mad at this little kid for stealing their livestock. I don't know what their reasoning could be for why they did that to Saru, but I like that the episode is called The Story of Saru, because that kind of reflects why I love these episodes so much. Each episode, although it's a part of the Dororo storyline as a whole, each episode almost is like a little treasure on its own, because this story, for example, was the story of Saru. In the last episode, episode 7, we had the story with the spider monster and falling in love with this other villager. So we got their story. For 2 episodes, episodes 5 and 6, we had Mio's story. Before that, it was very focused on, you know, Hyakumaru and Dororo, but they were also like, each episode is like a story in itself, and it just, that experience is just so magical for me, and I just really enjoy it, how we get stories within a bigger story. Interesting enough, I do want to point out that last week I took part in, or I was part of a podcast. The podcast is called The World's Worst Podcast, and we talked about a lot of anime, but Dororo came up a lot. And I think that we discussed a few really important points about Dororo and the storyline. One of the questions that I was asked by Spencer was, how do I feel about the fact that when Dororo kills a demon, it seems like his father's country, or the land or people that he is a lord over, it seems like when Dororo defeats demons and starts taking back you know, his nose, his voice, his hearing, it's as if the drought is coming back and that their lands are doing worse. It seems like almost like for Hyakimaru to get his stuff back, his life back, his body, other people have to suffer. And that was the question, how do I feel about that? And we talked about, you know, the concept of yin and yang. good and bad, dark and light. I feel like every person has to face a certain amount of both, you know, that our life kind of balances out. And I feel like Hyakimaru's father, by sacrificing his son, an innocent child, an innocent soul, let's put it that way, he kind of cheated out of the let's say the yin part as a leader, and he didn't have to face any hardship, and he saved his people from that hardship through the wrong means. And they didn't face that challenge together as a community. Many communities in the world face things like drought and illness breakouts and different challenges. We all, as communities, we face different challenges, but we work through that, most of us, and we come out stronger on the other side when we choose to work together through the difficulties, and then we're stronger as a community, and we have faced that yin and yang. With all good, there's a little bad. With all bad, there's a little good. You need that balance in life. And I feel like Hyakimaru's father, by sacrificing his son, cheated life. You know, he used the wrong methods. He went to evil demons to help him. But I feel like at some point, they're going to have to face the challenge that they skipped. For example, when you cheat on a test, you win in that moment if you get away with it. You pass your test, good for you. But in the long run, that's not going to help you. Let's say if you're a doctor and you cheat on a test and you pass, and then the next day you have to operate on someone and they think you can do it because you passed the test. But then you're there and you cheated on the test, so now you have this new challenge and you can't overcome it because you didn't face the old challenge. Rather fail and learn through that and come out stronger so that on the next challenge you're ready for an even bigger one. And that's how life works. You face small challenges like a test on exams, and once you pass those, once you've proven yourself ready, you get put into the real world. That's why if you're a doctor, you have to study, pass the test, and then you can operate on people. That's like a bigger challenge, but you're prepared for it. And I feel like Hyakimaru's father cheated basically on a challenge that could have made him and his people stronger, better people. Hyakimaru taking back his body and his life isn't what's causing the negative situation for his father and his people. That situation was avoided by his father through sacrificing someone. They're only now facing what they already had to face as a community, as a people, and gotten through that. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say about that. When the podcast is available, I will share a link to the full podcast where we talk about a lot more about Dororo, a lot of other anime as well, and I will share it with you guys once it's available. But this episode for me was just another gem, another beautiful representation of what we as people can be. His sister sacrificed herself out of choice to save, all those people. It would have been a completely different situation, I'm sure, if the people forced her to sacrifice herself, Maybe they didn't have a choice, but at least someone stood up and said, I choose to die for you because we have no other option. Maybe they tried to get warriors to defeat the cloud monster. Maybe they've tried in the past, but they've never found someone like Hyakimaru who wandered upon this town somehow and ended up defeating the monster because of these two children that wanted to... Well, I understand that Dororo does say, hey, I need payment. I understand that. But I feel like even if SARU didn't have anything to give, I highly doubt that Dororo and Hyakimaru would have just walked away from it. It's always good to see, I need compensation, but I feel like they would have definitely helped out even if there was none. At the end, it's pretty apparent where Dororo is definitely disappointed by not getting as much gold as he had hoped for, but he doesn't complain too much. He just, aw, and then at the end is happy with just receiving the thanks from SARU and his sister and just the flower, just that simple token of appreciation. So even though Dororo and SARU, them choosing to defeat this monster, it's not as selfish, it is out of a personal gain. SARU does want to help his sister, so I understand like it's not completely selfless, but it's still out of the goodness of their hearts. It's still, I feel like how brave they showed themselves to be, even though they're children. I'm pretty sure that they realized they couldn't count on Hyakimaru after the first fight. They saw that Hyakimaru is blinded, doesn't know how to fight the monster, and still they made a plan, SARU and Dororo, to try and take down that monster. And that's why I say, I feel like it's for Dororo, it's more about just making money. Of course, it's a bonus if he can earn money while doing something good, but I feel like the intention behind it is really to help a person, you know. At first I was a little bit confused. I understood why Hyakimaru couldn't see. I immediately thought about sound, listen for where the monster is, but with that kind of long body and whooshing and roaring, I understand that it could be very overwhelming, especially for someone who is new to hearing. So when I saw him throw the rock, and then later again threw the rock, I clicked that he must have trained his ear to listen for the sound of something hitting another thing, you know? So I really like how they set that up. And it was such, like, it really tugged at my heartstrings. It really, I felt it when Dororo was shouting to Hyakimaru, "Here I am, I'm on the head," and then got knocked out because of, I don't know, a rock or something. Hyakimaru then, without knowing how to form words, called out to Dororo, and just, I don't know, something about that just really hit me in my heart. Luckily, Dororo woke up and they were able to defeat the monster quite quickly in the end. And I loved that scene. It was such an empowering scene where he defeated this head, but then the other head swallowed him up. And then he basically sliced through the head and then sliced all the way as if it was, the body was carrying it. Like, you know when you swallow something and it goes down? It's like he sliced and then whoosh, sliced it all up, and it was just such a good moment. And then thank God the monster was defeated and Hyakimaru got his nose back and his sense of smell. So that's really interesting. And then at the end, when he said Dororo's name, I feel like that was just so sweet. And overall, this episode is just a big 5 out of 5 for me. I loved it every moment. There's nothing that I would change about it. One thing that I do want to point out, the music, compared to all the anime that I'm watching, Fairy Tail, for example, has really good battle scene music, and I'm even watching Domestic Girlfriend, which has really good soundtracks. And in this specific episode, the drums, oh, it was so good. It's so not modern. I don't know, what's the word for not modern when something's, let me Google it, old-fashioned. So just the old-fashioned, you know, the drums of that time, it is such a beautiful representation, once again, of the time that it's set in. And that's why I love this anime so much, is because it might not have fancy music and fancy animation and all that kind of stuff with specific details, but it all fits the time period, it all fits the tone of the anime, and it just contributes to the story as a whole, and I just really love it so much. And it's one of the most unique anime I've ever watched, one of the anime that touches me the most, and it's just so far a 10 out of 10 for me, the anime as a whole, and I'm looking forward to every episode to come. I chose to watch this episode instead of that time I got reincarnated as a slime, because even though the hype around slime is more popular amongst a majority of people, this anime is quality. Like, it's a different level of storytelling, and it's a level that speaks to me. I'm not saying it's a higher level, because obviously slime would be higher for other people, but for me it's a different world. Like, I can barely, like, to me slime doesn't even compare, and that's why I chose this one first, and it's just brilliant. So thank you guys for watching with me, listening to me. I'm looking forward to reading your comments.